Suspend all disbelief. Michael Snaer does it again. Plus, an ACC Digital Network favorite, A.J. Francis, talks about getting ready for the NFL Draft.
I'm just trying to get bigger, faster, stronger.
And he tells us about the Terps playing in the Super Bowl. Plus, some of the ACC's all-time greats were Super Bowl stars. 5 ended up Super Bowl MVP. Can you name them? ACC Live Throwback starts now. Welcome to ACC Live. I'm Jeff Fischel. Today, it's Throwback Thursday. We look back on the great players and great moments in ACC histories on Thursday. But we had this plan to start the show talking about great ACC players in the Super Bowl. We'll get to that, but it's no longer the lead to the show because of Michael Snaer. Snaer did it again last night against Maryland, hitting the game-winning 3 with 1 second left. That's 2 buzzer beaters in the last week. He also had 2 last year. Michael Snaer is clutch.
Down the court, Luke Louch. Luke Louch with 2 seconds. Comes the ball. Jump shot, Snaer. Good shot. Knowles win. Knowles win. The little team that could just did. 7 seconds. Peterson dribbles, drives to Snaer. 3-point shot, Snaer. Got it! Got it! Got it! Got it! And the Seminoles of Florida State have defeated Virginia Tech.
2 seconds. 1 second. And the buzzer for the win. Wow, Michael Snaer does it.
That's what a big-time player does. He sheds a bad game and comes up big.
Miller off a screen, curls right side, into the lane, kick out, Snaer for the win, got it! Michael Snaer has done it again!
Snaer is becoming such a legend. He was trending last night on Twitter after the game, and some of you had some great tweets about him, including Lucas tweeted this out. Michael Snaer has replaced Chauncey Billups as the new Mr. Big Shot. It's hard to argue, although Chauncey is clutch. There's no doubt about it. How about Alex Pruitt tweeted this out. Michael Snaer has now hit game-winning 3-pointers against 36% of the ACC. You have to do the math there for a second. You figure he's played 11 other teams in the conference, right, because there are 12 of them. He's hit shots, game winners against 4 of them. 4 divided by 11, 36%. Thank you for the math. Connor Travis wrote, Snaer isn't human. This isn't possible. There's no doubt he is becoming larger than life with his game-winning shots. And Big Sean tweeted, I'm the Michael Snaer of beer pong. Brilliant. You can just imagine someone practicing in their dorm room again and again for the clutch ping pong into the bowl of beer. At this point, Snaer has etched a name for himself in Tallahassee as a Florida State legend. Since this is a Throwback Thursday show, let's look at some other FSU legends over the years. Charlie Ward was a 2-sport athlete for the Seminoles in the early 90s. He was most well known for leading the Noles on the gridiron to the 1993 National Championship. And oh yeah, let's not forget, right? He also took the Heisman that same year. But of course, he was also a star on the basketball court as well for the Seminoles, a 2-sport star. His coach on that 93 National Championship team was the legendary Bobby Bowden. With 377 career wins, Bowden ranks first all-time amongst FBS coaches in that category. Yeah, Bowden is definitely a legend. Let's move on to the Diamond. Before winning the 2012 National League MVP and 2 World Series titles with the San Francisco Giants, Buster Posey was a star behind the dish for the Seminoles in his final season with Florida State. Posey hit .463 with 26 home runs, 96 RBI, and took home college baseball's version of the Heisman. That's the Golden Spikes Award. You might be thinking, hey, what about Deion Sanders? We have him coming up later in the show. Now, Michael Snaer towers over everyone in college basketball when it comes to making the big shot. But it's not just on the court. He also towers over everyone in one of his classes. Meet Mr. Michael.
He's Mr. Michael, tall friend, playmate, and teacher. When he doesn't have his hands full with basketball, he's got his hands full with a group of preschoolers.
I'm getting dizzy now. I got involved with it through my major, and I work with a group of 3, 4, 5-year-olds, and they've impacted my life just drastically. And in a short period of time, it's crazy. I never knew how easy it is to fall in love with children as much as I have since I've been there.
That's part of a great story from Taylor Tannenbaum. Thanks to Florida State for sharing it. Of course, Michael Snaer, now a preschool teacher as well. It's a class he's taking to get his degree. Do you think he blocks their shots on the Nerf hoop? Actually, yes, he does, and that's part of the story. You can see all of it Michael Snaer, the preschool teacher on the ACC Digital channel on YouTube. So the kids call him Mr. Michael. I'm pretty sure that's what other teams should call him as well. But what's your nickname for Snaer? And what are the best nicknames ever for ACC players? We'll go through some of them coming up. New this morning, the ACC has announced the men's basketball Legends class of 2013. Since you're an ACC fan, these names will bring back some great memories. Here they are, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. Mark Price, he really helped Georgia Tech, the resurgence at Georgia Tech with head coach Bobby Cremins. Price is one of just 4 players in conference history to be first or second All-ACC all 4 years. Another legend, Duke's Trajan Langdon. Talk about nicknames. He has one of the great ones, the Alaskan Assassin. One of the great shooters in ACC history. He was a 3-time All-Conference pick and an All-American his senior season. How about Gary Williams? He has established himself, no doubt, as a legend at Maryland, both as a player and a coach. That's right. He was a player there, and then he returned to his alma mater and coached there for 22 seasons, winning 461 games at College Park. Of course, the crowning moment. 2002, the Maryland Terrapins were the national champions. And former ACC Commissioner Gene Corrigan, a 1952 Duke grad, he led the conference from 1987 to 97. During that time, 11 ACC teams made the Final Four and won 3 straight national titles from 91 to 93. Here's the full list. Boston College's Jerry Ward, his senior year in 63, he set a BC record for points per game. 2 guards, Terrell McIntyre and Theron Mays, led their teams to some of the best years in school history. Mike Whitman, after an incredible career at Miami, he made TV history by being in charge of the Goodyear Blimp for all those huge events. Mike O'Corn was a 3-time All-American for the Tar Heels. Derek Wittenberg, responsible for the most famous airball/pass in NCAA tournament history. Travis Watson, a 3-time All-ACC player for UVA. Ace Custis led the Hokies in rebounding all 4 years and top 10 in scoring history at the school. And Carl Tacey won 222 games during his 13 years as Wake Forest head coach. Congrats to all of them for being named 2013 ACC Legends. They'll be honored during the ACC tournament in March in Greensboro. Speaking of legends, the ACC Network and Raycom Sports bring you Season 2 of Kings of the Court. This year's second show takes a look at 2 guards who made unique impacts on the ACC. Jay Williams is a 2-time National Player of the Year, but a motorcycle accident ended his playing career. Hear how that affected his life and about his return to the game. Also, Kenny Anderson takes you to Queens, New York, where he became a playground legend before moving on to Georgia Tech. Go to acc.com/Kings to see where Kings of the Court airs in your area. Now it's time for other stories making headlines in the conference. Here's what's happening in the ACC now. North Carolina State point guard Lorenzo Brown is still questionable. We still don't know if he'll play Saturday against the Miami Hurricanes. Brown is in a walking boot, and Coach Mark Gottfried says Brown is limping pretty badly. Gottfried tells the News and Observer he's not going to rush Brown back into the lineup. That could mean, if we can infer, it could mean Brown could miss several games. The other big injury, of course, from Tuesday night, Carolina's P.J. Hairston. Roy Williams says it's doubtful Hairston will play Saturday against Virginia Tech. An elbow injury from Dexter Strickland first caused a concussion. Then Hairston suffered whiplash too when he fell to the ground. It was really a scary moment, but he did tweet out after the game that he's doing better, and it sounds like by next week we could see him back in the lineup. Well, that didn't take long. Virginia quarterback Phillip Sims has a new offensive coordinator to work with. Coach Mike London has hired former NFL assistant and Colorado State head coach Steve Fairchild to be OC. He takes over for Bill Lazor, who left for a job to be quarterbacks coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. And some tough news for Florida State baseball. The school has announced today that number 2 pitcher Mike Compton will need Tommy John surgery, and he'll miss the entire 2013 season. The right-hander went 12-2 last season with a 2.87 ERA, and he was a freshman All-American. That is the ACC now. We've been asking you to tweet us the best nicknames you can remember from the great players in ACC history, your best ACC nicknames. Just ahead, I talk with AJ Francis. He coined the phrase fat guy friendly, which he joked about. We joked about that a lot on ACC Kickoff Live. I asked him if the NFL is fat guy friendly, and we talk about NFL, the Super Bowl, the ACC stars who made it to the big game.
Out with the old and in with the delicious. Commit to bold taste with the new Flavor Resolutions menu at Ruby Tuesday. 10 entrees starting at $9.99. Try our savory barbecue brushed ribs and bacon wrapped shrimp. Or take it up a notch by adding coconut crusted shrimp to our mango salsa topped Caribbean chicken. Plus, enjoy our endless garden bar, free with any chef-inspired entree. Ruby Tuesday. It's all good here. Start the new year with savings. Visit rubytuesday.com today for a $5 coupon.
What's better, bigger or smaller?
Bigger!
So which would you rather have, a big treehouse or a small treehouse?
If it's big enough, you can have a disco. Oh, yeah.
Why do you not want a smaller treehouse?
Because it wouldn't be able to fit a flat screen TV, and then the TV would be about this big, and you would have to hold the wire. In the position you would hold the wire, you wouldn't be able to see the TV.
That's a pain in the buns.
Yep. Yeah.
It's not complicated. Bigger is better, and AT&T has the nation's largest 4G network.
The ACC Digital Network, the ultimate video destination for ACC fans. Exclusive highlights, live streaming games, and original live programming, unique access to the student athletes of our time and the legendary voices of all time. Defining moments, personal stories, incredible analysis from authentic ACC sources, cutting-edge content from the leaders in the digital space. The ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.
Good afternoon, Chase Sapphire. This is Stacy from Springfield.
Oh,
Hello?
yes, I didn't realize you'd be talking to an actual person.
You don't need to press 0. I'm here.
Reach a person, not a prompt, whenever you call Chase Sapphire.
Some great women's basketball is live tonight on the ACC Digital Network. The Miami Hurricanes face off with the 5th-ranked Duke Blue Devils. Duke is 8-0 in the ACC and has a half-game lead on Maryland. Miami's 5-4 in the conference, 14-6 overall. All the action, the Canes and the Blue Devils, streaming live starting at 7 p.m. on the ACC DN. Welcome back to ACC Live. It's the Throwback Thursday show. I'm Jeff Fischel. So we're asking you the best nicknames in the ACC you've ever heard. What are they? Tweet us at the ACC DN. You can also tweet me directly at Jeff Fischel. Some of those players have made it to Super Bowl Sundays. We're looking back how some legends performed in Super Bowls and which ACC stars became legends with unforgettable Super Bowl performances. Let's start with LT. After an incredible career at North Carolina, Lawrence Taylor was named All-Pro his first 9 years in the NFL. He helped the New York Giants win 2 championships in Super Bowls 21 and 25. Bruce Smith was a star at Virginia Tech and the #1 pick in the 1985 draft by the Buffalo Bills. He then played for 4 straight Super Bowls for the Bills. Smith had a sack for a safety in Super Bowl 25, another sack in Super Bowl 27. His 200 regular season sacks are an NFL record. Before Florida State joined the ACC, Deion Sanders starred for the Seminoles. He played in back-to-back Super Bowls for different teams. Super Bowl 29 helped the 49ers beat the Chargers. The next year, he was on the Cowboys, and he helped the Dallas Cowboys beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another Seminole great who made it to the Super Bowl, linebacker Derek Brooks. His Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Oakland Raiders in Super Bowl 37 in that game. He returned an interception just like this one for a touchdown. Brooks was a 9-time All-Pro during his NFL career. And before Thomas Jones ran wild in Super Bowl 41 for the Chicago Bears, he was a star for the Virginia Cavaliers. Jones gained 112 yards against the Colts in the Super Bowl. He finished his NFL career with over 10,000 yards rushing. Now, 5 ACC stars have been named Super Bowl MVP. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I asked this as a trivia question yesterday. Thanks to Paul the Duke fan, Seminole Ian, DJ Cyclops, Soy Boy Mike, and the Mighty 07 for getting your answers in on Twitter. I like to throw out ACC trivia when I can. So now let's take a look at Super Bowl MVPs from the current ACC schools. One of them, Randy White. Before his Hall of Fame career with the Cowboys, he was a star at the University of Maryland. White and teammate Harvey Martin shared MVP honors in Super Bowl 12, or as the kids like to say, XII. Maybe the kids don't like to say that, but sometimes you see it with Roman numerals. Here are the other 4. Florida State has had 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Fred Biletnikoff, the great wide receiver for the Oakland Raiders in Super Bowl 11, and Dexter Jackson was huge in that Super Bowl 37 win for the Bucks. Miami also 2. Otis, my man. He loves us. O.J. Anderson, he did it with the Giants, and Ray Lewis for the Ravens in Super Bowl 35. Joining me now, Maryland defensive tackle A.J. Francis. We're actually welcoming him back. We had you during the football season talking about the football team for the Maryland Terrapins. Now, A.J., you're not on campus. You're down in Florida. Tell everybody what you're doing.
You know, right now I'm training for the NFL draft. You know, I'm training towards Pro Day, which for us is March 13th. Just trying to get bigger, faster, stronger in a short amount of time to try to impress people, and hopefully, you know, the scouts think I can play at the next level.
Now, when we talked last time, we joked around about fat guy friendly, but now you're trying to lose some of that fat, I bet, right?
Yeah, you know, I'm just trying to trim up a little bit. I'm still, you know, a bigger guy. I'm not going to be anywhere near 299, so I'm going to still be in the threes, but, you know, I will be a little slimmer for sure.
How much fun would it be for you to be drafted by your favorite team, and who is your favorite team?
You know, I grew up, my whole family's Dallas Cowboy fans, so I was just born into it. I mean, it'd be awesome. I mean, Texas doesn't have state income tax, so that's even better. and you know, so there's a lot of positives that would go along with it. But honestly, I'm just looking for a shot in anybody's camp at this point, and you know, hopefully somebody likes me enough to draft me, and if not, I'll just try to earn my spot on the roster the hard way.
AJ Francis is a smart man. He thinks beyond just football and being a fan of the Cowboys. He's thinking about things like taxes and the paycheck. All right. Hey, AJ, this is a throwback show. So let's talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, the guys that maybe were in Maryland before, now playing in the big game Sunday. Tell me about Torrey Smith when you guys were teammates with the Terps.
You know, we always made fun of Torrey because Torrey he had this thing where he would like to do called the humble brag, where, you know, after we played NC State, and he had 240 yards receiving and like 4 touchdowns. He was like, "Oh man, you know, I had all these touchdowns and yards, but I can't believe they had my dunk on the cover of the school newspaper. It's just crazy." Like, yeah, we know, Torrey. We all saw the school newspaper. like we knew it was there. But yeah, you know, Torrey's a real good guy, and you know, I've met also, you know, Laquan's on the Ravens. Laquan Williams played with me at Maryland, and I've met Vernon Davis twice. He's come back and talked to us at Maryland. You know, he talked to us before this season. So it's great seeing, you know, former Terps in the big game on Sunday.
Absolutely. Now, was there a favorite player you had growing up?
Yeah, you know, I was a big Emmitt Smith fan.
Yeah.
You know, and then once I realized I wasn't a running back, I started to focus more of my, you know, attention on. I always have been, and I still am, a huge DeMarcus Ware fan.
Right.
I think he's the best lineman in the NFL, and you know, I try to do. I'm nowhere near as athletic as him, so I can't really do any of the moves he does except a bull rush. But you know, I try to look at his game and see what he does well, and see if I can do it. And most of the time, I can't because I'm just too big. But you know, he's definitely one of my favorite players.
So Sunday, who are you rooting for? Are you rooting for the Ravens since they're at least the hometown team?
Yeah, I'm definitely. I mean, you got to root for the Ravens in this one. I mean, I've met Vernon, but I don't really know Vernon. You know, I know Torrey. I grew up. I played AAU basketball with Laquan. My dad coached Laquan Williams in AAU basketball when we were growing up. So I'm definitely pulling for the Ravens. Not to mention, you know, it's Maryland. You know, we got to represent for each other. You know, nobody else is going to represent for us. So we got to stand out on our own and try to win it.
Do you remember the Ravens' last Super Bowl title?
Yeah, I do. I remember. I was my neighborhood friend at the time. His family was from New York, and so they were all Giants fans. And I remember going to watch the game at their house, and being the only one after the game that was, you know, kind of excited at the outcome. Everybody else in the house was, you know, kind of upset with the fact that the Ravens put it on them like that.
Hey, I wanted to ask you, you're a politics guy. You follow everything that's going on. President Obama talked this week about how if he had a son, he wasn't sure he'd let him play football. What do you think of that?
You know, I understand where he's coming from. I mean, football is a dangerous game. Football is a game that every time you put your helmet on, you know the risk that you're getting into. And, you know, I can understand he's not a guy that ever played football, so he doesn't really understand it. I feel like if I had a son, I'd be able to teach him how to play the proper way, and, you know, hopefully he'll play safe. I mean, at the end of the day, you can get hurt walking across the street. So, I mean, you got to be able to put your kids out there somehow. And, you know, he doesn't have a son, so I understand where he's coming from. I definitely wouldn't let my daughters play football, that's for sure. But, you know, but it's definitely a dangerous game.
All right, last thing, AJ. Fill in the blanks. With the blank pick of the blank round, the blank selects AJ Francis, defensive tackle, Maryland.
You know, I would have to say with the first pick in the first round.
All right.
City Chiefs select AJ Francis, and then when I would wake up from my dream, I would probably just wait for, you know, a call from somebody else.
All right.
You know, so
you might as well dream big, right?
yeah, you know, go big or go home.
That's right. Go big or go home. I love it. Great way to finish with AJ Francis, defensive tackle for the Maryland Terrapins, preparing right now for the NFL draft. Good luck, AJ.
Thank you.
Always great talking to AJ. As I mentioned, he goes by the nickname of the franchise. So does another former Maryland star, Steve Francis, right? He's the franchise as well. So we've been talking about nicknames. What are the great nicknames for ACC athletes over the years? Ronnie Taborn, friend of the show. Great to have him following us every day. He wrote several. The Playmaker, Michael the Playmaker Irvin. Big Game James Worthy. Vinsanity for Vince Carter. Air Jordan, of course, and Neon Deion Sanders. All great calls. Thanks, Ronnie. What else do we have? Will. Steeler Will writes in, Tree Rollins from Clemson. One of the great big man shot blockers in NBA history. Tree Rollins. Good call. Ted Allen, the Fridge. That's all I need to say. Everyone knows. William the Refrigerator Perry, another Clemson star. How about Cane Freak 2001? Of course, a former Miami Hurricane great, the Mad Stork, Ted Hendricks. Thanks for all the nicknames. Our Twitter feed is @theACCDN. I'm @JeffMichelle. But now it's time to jump aboard the Wayback Machine before the age of Twitter. Let's see what happened this week in ACC history. January 29th, 1972. The Tar Heels get the 1,000th win in program history over Maryland. The star that night, and on that team, was Bob McAdoo. He would go on to claim MVP honors that year in the ACC tournament. February 1st, 1989, #1 North Carolina against Clemson. The Tigers' Dale Davis has a night. 21 points, 21 rebounds, and that hair, man, that is a sweet lid right there. Top-ranked Tar Heels go down to Clemson 85-82. February 2nd, 1995, #2 North Carolina against Duke. This was a classic. The Tar Heels win. Oh, Jerry Stackhouse. Huge slam. The Tar Heels win 102-100 in double overtime. Stackhouse had 25 in the game, including that sweet jam. And speaking of dunks, coming up in February, it's Dunk Month here on the ACC Digital Network. Follow us throughout the month. We'll be talking about and showing you the greatest dunks in ACC history. We're digging into the archives right outside in this hallway over here. Stacks and stacks of tapes going way back. We will show you all month the great dunks in ACC history, and we want you involved as well. You're going to tell us which ones were the best ever from every school. All right, a closing note. Happy birthday to 49ers tight end Vernon Davis. The former Maryland star turned 29 today. A Super Bowl win would certainly be a nice birthday present, I'd say. Also today, it would be Jackie Robinson's 94th birthday. It's always fun arguing over who was the best baseball player or best quarterback or best three-point shooter, but there's no doubt. No player has had more of an impact on the sports world we love and we celebrate every day than the great Jackie Robinson. His birthday is a great day every year to say thank you, and thanks for watching.